What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Scott Goodall. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite cameras. It's the Ricoh GR3. I just want to start this out by saying thank you to Sean Tucker, because without his channel, I probably never would have found this camera, and I don't even know if I would have started a YouTube channel. Let's get into it. Okay, today's video is the good, the bad, the ugly on the Ricoh GR3. I'm grasping at straws for the ugly because this camera is one of my favorites, but let's just get into it. If I was to change one thing on this camera, it would be the fact that there is no flip screen on this. As you guys know, I also have a Fuji X100V. I would say that this right here is one of my favorite features that I wish this camera had. I often have this thing down like in a corner or tucked away somewhere where if I could just see what I was shooting a little bit better, that would be awesome. It'd probably allow me to hit a couple more shots. So that's going to be one of them. The second thing about this is the battery life. The battery life on the Ricoh GR3 is pretty bad. They say on average you're going to hit about 200 shots per battery, so I would say walking around with 2 or 3 of these if you're going to go out for a day of shooting is pretty important. Or like I do, I carry around a little charger with me, so like in my back pocket I'll just plug this thing in as I'm going around, or if I'm like going to go grab a coffee. So I'd suggest a couple extra batteries. The other, which doesn't bother me at all, but a lot of people like to have viewfinders when they're shooting cameras, so they'll want to put this thing up and be able to shoot shots like that. For me, it doesn't really matter, but I would say that that would be the third thing about this camera that is kind of a bummer, and not look at the LCD screen while you're shooting. So that's the bad on this camera. Now let's get into the reason why we actually love this camera as street photographers. The first one being its size. Look at this thing. So this thing will slip in your pocket, and that's why it's called an everyday camera. You literally, so like even my Fuji X100V, I won't walk out of the house and just be like, I'm taking this thing everywhere with me. But this camera will go everywhere with you day to day, and it shoots the most beautiful tack sharp shots and allows you pretty much to go anywhere and shoot without bruising an image or people like really throwing people off. I would say one thing about street photography is you never really want to bruise an image unless you're actually trying to get people to take notice of what you're doing there. But with this, you can walk around in the street and you almost just look like a tourist. You don't look like you're trying to do anything like sneaky or do anything like that. You're just walking around taking shots with a very tiny camera that's pretty much the size of a phone. So I would say that's the number one feature about this camera. The second feature about this camera that I absolutely love is the in-body stabilization. So for me, I love that I can go out and I can pop this thing without having a tripod or anywhere to set it. I can drop it down to like a quarter of a second, a half a second. I've even gone down to a second where I just stabilize myself against a wall where everything's out of focus, that's moving, and everything else is just tack sharp. So the in-body stabilization on this camera is one of my favorite features. Let's get into the last one for me. The snap focus on this is, I wish every camera had this, every street camera, because I have all these different features up here, and what I'll do is I will know that on each one I have different settings where I'll have a snap focus on like 1 meter, I'll have one that's on like 2.5 meters, and then I'll have one that's on like anywhere from like 3.5 to like max. And I know if I'm gonna pop that, and I'm just gonna switch it really quick, I know I'm gonna hit whatever I'm trying to shoot and it's gonna be tack sharp. So often I'll be like walking around running, gunning through the city, and I know if I just have this thing on my chest and something comes within like a meter of me or 2.5 meters of me, I'm gonna press this button and I'm gonna nail the shot, and it's gonna nail the focus without me having to worry. So I would say that that's like the third major point on this camera that has me like thinking it's probably the best street camera out there. I know the Leicas are amazing. I know the Fujis are amazing. I mean, there's a lot of amazing cameras out there, but for me, this is my everyday go-to street photography camera, and that's the good, the bad, the ugly. If you guys would like to see any more of my work above my shoulders, I'm going to have my black and white and my street photography camera, or my street photography work above me. If you like what you saw, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Let's get this out to more people, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for jumping in. Peace.